All right, well, welcome back, guys, to the Cardboard Cellar Championship Series. This is tournament number 3, and I'm with my co-host Jared Ellenberger.
Yeah, happy to be here watching some great matches of Modern. This is, I believe, this February 2nd,
February
this tournament?
22nd.
February 22nd. Yeah. Okay, so we're rolling into round one with our former champion from the last tournament, Frank Natoli, rocking some Temur Breach on the right against his opponent Ryan Walters on Amulet Titan on the left.
Yeah, it's definitely different to see Frank outside of his zone and not playing Merfolk. So he came with a surprise and definitely caught some people off guard.
For sure. Austin and I had a bit of a campaign going, the Stop Merfolk campaign, after being slaughtered by Frank with that fish deck one too many times. And he had the right play to switch up the metagame and really pivot into a storm strategy that we're not used to seeing in these tournaments.
Yeah, he definitely said that he made the decision last second and he wasn't quite sure what he was going to play up until he showed up. So made the long drive again from Youngstown. So always appreciate that. Ryan, still kind of a newbie to the game, but really picking up on this Amulet Titan, and he thought he was going to make a decision to change decks and actually fell back to it. So
Yeah, definitely getting some reps in with that amulet deck. Hopefully, putting it to good use here today. And as we see Frank take a mulligan, I didn't get a good look at his hand beforehand, but hopefully this six will treat him a little bit better.
yeah, and it looks like we did kind of flip that life around, so it is correct now. So Frank on right, Ryan on left.
Yes, yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah, going into this first round here, we've got the standings from the past couple of tournaments. Frank and I are tied at the top, so I got to be on Team Ryan here for round one. I guess you'll be representing Frank.
Yeah. So we've got Jared and Frank at 4 championship points, myself at 3, Dallas at 2, and then Ben at 1 so far. So excited to see. We got a couple of newbies that have joined us as well. So we just keep upping those numbers, and yeah, excited to see how the day goes.
All right. Hopefully we've got it. Yep, looks like we've got a keeper here from Frank, starting things off with the Wooded Foothills.
Oh,
And Drown Yard and Amulet right off the bat for Ryan. One of the better starts you're looking for. Untapped land into Amulet and being able to hopefully follow it up with one of your bounce lands on turn two for the Amulet deck.
yeah. I think the scary thing is for Ryan is this is the unknown. I don't think he's ever played against this deck, and it's just hit or miss. Is it going to spew everything out in turn 1, turn 2, and get at you, or going to play a little bit slower and give Ryan a chance to drop a couple amulets and a Titan on turn 3 and go for it.
Yeah, two blazing fast combo decks facing off against each other as Frank fetches up a surveil land on Ryan's end step. Find out if he wants to keep that or just make it fodder for um, his escape enchantment as he puts that Tameo into the graveyard. We'll see if he's off to one of the blazing starts that this Teamer Breach deck is capable of having, or if it's one of the slower, grindier ones. It's very difficult deck to play against, and I imagine play with, since you have so many different um, pacings, so many different lines that you can take.
Yeah, definitely some long turns that I witnessed through the tournament just because it has so many outs and so many variabilities to it. And as we're actually recording this, the RC is going on currently, and as we were talking about earlier, 6 of the top 8 decks in the RC were Teamer Breach, and 3 of the top final 4 also Breach. So the deck is obviously showing its colors and shown that it's a force to be reckoned with.
Definitely, it's just so resilient. A lot of times with these type of storm strategies or combo strategies, you can really find a way to hate them out, but this one just seems to keep going.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan with a Malevolent Rumble here. So rumble, big fella, rumble.
And this, honestly, one of the best cantrips to enter modern for a while. It's pretty unassuming on its face to be a 2 mana cantrip in modern. I wouldn't even have initially thought that that would be playable, but it gives you those mana back with that Scion. You can end up using it as a blocker, use it as a mana ramp on a later turn, and then being able to use all parts of the card whenever you're putting things that you care about into your graveyard to bring them back for the future, and also getting that best permanent back into your hand. It's an incredible cantrip in the way these decks are constructed.
Yeah, it really has kind of just placed itself in multiple different archetypes and decks and made itself a staple into modern at this point. So
For sure. Let's see if Frank can get up to any shenanigans with that Emery, Lurker of the Lock. See what he wants to bring back. Looks like we're just going for a value play of a couple of Mishra's baubles, get some extra cards in his hand, and um, see if he's feeling frisky with that Underworld Breach.
I was gonna
Um,
say
but
we did peek that breach there for a second, and Frank is technically lurking right now. Let's see what he's gonna go with. Looks like we got a Mox and potentially another Emery in hand.
and that Mox is active, I believe. Emery is a legendary creature, so he has 3 mana available to him. It looks like we're over on Ryan's turn now, though. So as the Dryad of the Elysian Grove comes down,
All right, we're gonna read some weird lands here. As we know, this deck plays multiples of all kinds of them.
for sure, and I don't recognize a couple of those arts. Hard to tell quite what colors of mana Ryan has available to him at the moment. I think that's a Basuba, actually. Um,
Up top looks like we have that Forest and Seju, and then Shifting Woodlands. Not quite certain what the two on the left are kind of showing off, but it looks like Frank is matching with his own Shifting Woodlands of his own, activating Emery.
Indeed. And again, just all the graveyard resources coming into modern, and shifting woodlands, a 4 mana activation. Modern, not something you expect to see a ton of, but when you have the options of your entire graveyard, just like the old days with Snapcaster Mage, giving you that flexibility, shifting woodlands a very powerful resource for these decks.
Yeah, it looks like Frank's got one of the power cards of an MVP's of modern now back to the Opal, and we're live in action. Said still breach in hand.
Yes, and I would think with that Dryad on the opposing battlefield, he's probably wanting to try to go off this turn. There's just so much combo potential if you give Ryan the chance to untap. Although the fact that you weren't dead already on his last turn might symbolize that he's missing a few pieces.
Yeah, it looks like we burned through all our Emerys trying to really find that piece to go off this turn, and Frank with the mana. Let's see what he's burnt through.
Seems like he is just short the grinding station, unless there's one in his graveyard that I can't quite see. We know he has that Underworld Breach in hand. He's just choosing to cast this Tameo.
All right, passing back to Ryan. See if Ryan can try to pop off here. Plenty of cards in hand to do it.
That's the Garrison land that grants a creature haste for tapping it and one red source. Only a single green source over there for Ryan at the moment, unless there's maybe a forest floating just off screen up there. I think that's his graveyard from the Malevolent Rumble.
Oh yes, correct, correct. So he might just be off of his But he's got the Dryad, so I guess he's got all the manas.
And that was a green red bounce land that just came down. So I believe he has green red floating, going up to 4 mana. Second green. I'm guessing that's a Titan, although I don't recognize the
No, so that's a different type of card that he put in there, and I believe it's the Fecund Green Shell. So he was really excited to play that card. Um,
All right. Nice to see when you get a little bit of interesting creative tech and get to see it paying off here, hopefully, for him.
yeah, so that's a 5 drop elemental turtle. It is a 4/6 with reach. As long as you control 10 or more lands, creatures you control get +2/+2. And then it states whenever Fecund Green Shell or another creature you control with toughness greater than its power enters, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. Otherwise, put it into your hand. And that's from Bloomburrow. So,
Okay. So a bit of a card draw engine. Sure, it has some combo potential. Maybe just acting as another outlet for if your Titans get surgical extraction or something, another way that you can go off to dig through your deck and get you those resources.
yeah,
Frank
looks like.
cracking that Mishra's Bobble at the end of Ryan's turn there. Hopefully, digging him a little bit further as he's looking for these combo pieces.
Yeah, a little bit of slow starts from both sides here. Not a lot of interaction, just not a whole lot going on, it seems. So, but with Frank having that Urza Saga come down, we might be seeing some value here in a couple turns and put Ryan on that clock.
Yeah, definitely. And if even if not, those construct tokens can really add up some damage in his deck as well. Tamio pumping out clues every single turn, and any number uh, of artifacts that can come out of this deck. Those can get pretty big and really get the beatdowns going. Tamio attacks in, makes a clue.
All
Or
right.
no, I'm sorry, she only makes a clue when she deals damage, I believe. Looks like we were able to draw enough cards to transform her.
And nope, it's whenever it attacks for Tamio. So,
Oh, it is? Okay.
yep. So, since the 0 power, whenever it attacks, makes it even stronger, just getting in with that flying for value.
Tamio's +2, hopefully, or not hopefully, but will do nicely to cancel out any buffs that turtle elemental creature is giving to what are some low power, high toughness creatures sitting on Ryan's board, some big butts, if you will.
Yeah, I believe he needs to have the 10 lands though. So,
We are a bit short of that at this
yeah,
point.
even though he's got a lot of lands, he is definitely not at 10. So, trying to make his way there, but by that time, I don't know if it's going to make the difference.
Yeah. Both players definitely spinning their wheels a little bit. It's not how you expect this combo versus combo matchup to go, but I suppose every once in a while you start out with these games where the players just don't quite have the resources they're looking for, and you get to see the backup plans of the two decks face off against each other. I think I saw another Dryad on top for Ryan off the Mishra's Bauble. Um, so we might be able to use that. I think it's a game trail, maybe the green red bounce land. Maybe get a lot of mana going here. But I'm not sure that he has anything to do with it
I was going to say, all dressed up, but nowhere to go.
for
So,
sure.
we'll see what we can draw off top, and it looks like he does have that green red, but need to find some sort of summoner's pact or
Looks like he's doing something.
maybe we popped it off. Okay.
Is that another Ryan Walters special, or is that
I, I
just some
I think
ultimate?
it is. I think he put a little something spicy in there, and I want to say that. Yep, that's what I thought. So that is the Lumra, Bellow of the Woods 6 drop, also from Bloom Burrow. Elemental Bear, Vigilance Reach, power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. When it enters, mill 4 cards, then return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Okay, yeah, definitely some serious synergies going there, especially while he has that shifting woodlands on the battlefield. He might be able to mill over a Titan or what is the other name of that? Aftermath analyst and be able to combo off this turn still. Let's see what he hits.
Yeah, it looks like he's copying the Amulet of Vigor currently with that land. So looking to get some double triggers here, and once again just has to find something to really draw into with it.
Starting to get some beatdowns going with the turtle coming in for to smack Tamio and knock her down to what looks like one loyalty.
Yeah, down to one though is huge just because not having the ability to go through the graveyard and take, any extra resource. So not a bad
For sure.
not a bad hit there. And then coming in looks like was hopeful big damage next turn for Ryan. See what Frank kind of is able to put together here, especially with once again ability to get construct. Looks like we found it
Preordained.
through the breach. Or
Yeah. Did you see what that other card was? I didn't get a great look at it.
I could not see, but I definitely saw the breach.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's some consideration to keeping the breach, just you can cast, more emeries, more preordains, just cycle through your deck a little bit faster. Even if you can't quite, I mean, he still may be able to combo off this turn. A Malevolent Rumble might have been the other card, it looks like,
If so, great pickups.
for sure. It looked like a Mox, another Urza Saga, maybe a couple of lands at the back there.
That's what I was kind of seeing. I think it's got the Ottawara, the bounce land. I'm assuming
Deciding what to do with Tamio.
I was gonna say I'm assuming
Looks
Frank's
like
gonna try to go up on that.
Yeah, it looks like he's calculating how many lands Ryan has in play, how many can be coming back from the graveyard here before too long, and exactly what threats he should be looking out for. At this point, Ryan has all the mana he needs, Frank. You got to get him dead, or as soon as he draws a threat, this game's going to end very quickly.
All right, we're lurking.
Emery bringing back what I believe is a Mishra's Bauble, although I didn't get a great look at it. Can't help but feeling like we want cards now, not cards for next turn. I think Frank plays a couple unholy heats that would help out, be able to kill a Titan maybe with the haste from that Hanwar garrison, sorry, Hanwar battlements on the stack, and maybe fizzle them out there depending on how he fetches his first couple of lands. But still, not the situation you want to be in.
No,
As
I think
Ryan
just
untaps.
stuck with those two breaches in hand, and same thing. Both guys kind of dressed up, ready to party, and just nowhere to go. So
For sure.
I think there's gonna be who draws the top here, and
For sure. And it is a really interesting dynamic on Frank's side. When do you burn that underworld breach? How far, you know, What? How many resources do you need in your graveyard before you can guarantee that they will find you your next combo piece? I would think with those two malevolent rumbles in the graveyard, that's a heck of a lot of gas. I'd be tempted to fire off that underworld breach sooner rather than later.
It's like Ryan had 4 floating. Looks like we're gonna try to shifting woodland, but I don't know if he's
Shifting
got
wood.
delirium. I'm honestly not sure what's kind of going on.
Yeah, and was he copying a Titan and getting to Valakuts? But that shifting woodlands was already on the battlefield, so there is no enters the battlefield trigger. But it's really unclear. He could be copying something else that's somehow fetching those.
Unfortunately, Graveyard just had a reach to be able to fully see, but looks like we're gonna get the bounce. Smart move, Frank.
That bounced the Dryad, meaning that those Valakuts are not mountains. And Ryan now well short of enough mountains to trigger those Valakuts. That Dryad can be replayed pretty easily. Um, Gruul Turf is, or I can't remember the name. Game Trail Gruul Turf, the green red land, bounce land.
I
Uh,
believe it's Gruul Turf. I believe you're correct on
yeah,
that.
I believe that's his first land drop. So we're looking at 6 points of damage per play there. So that's 18 points. That's enough to finish Frank off unless he has another answer here. Giving that what it appears to be a Titan haste, although it should not have brought those Valakuts back yet at this point, if that is what that is copying.
Like I said, I think you have to have delirium as well, and I just don't think he has delirium based off what I can see. But
He's definitely got sorcery, creature, land. If he has one other type,
I guess
because we know he
technically
has.
enchantment creature in there, so
Okay,
because the
the
Spring
Dryad
Heart,
went, but Springheart Nantuko is in there.
yeah, it looks like Spring Heart's in there, so he might actually
Okay,
have the 4 depending on.
yep. Still a little bit of missequencing or failure to maintain the game state more with the two Valakuts being fetched up as it turned into the Titan. Probably going to get us to the same spot regardless. Um, like I said, Ryan has 18 points of damage just in his land drops from hand once those two Valakuts are on the battlefield. So
And I don't.
this one should be in the books once we get through all these resolutions. And I think maybe that's what they're figuring out right now is how did those get onto the battlefield a little early. Um,
Yeah, math is hard. There's a lot going on. Very intricate, complicated decks, and a lot of triggers going off.
for sure. There's a reason I don't play these kind of decks. I'm too stupid for them, and I know it. I don't want to be sitting there, you know, taking games away from my opponents that I didn't have, or feeling bad about missing games I should have won. So I'll stick to my straight aggro or straight control. Thank you very much. Know what my goal is.
I'll keep playing my weenie based creature deck. So
Yep. Give him put something white in his hands. He'll draw every single land in his deck and
yeah,
beat you down.
stay tried and true, baby.
Yep.
And it looks like we're going to Game two
Game
here.
two.
Looks like Ryan gets it. So let's kind of look at some sideboards. But start off, we got Frank. This is what we have sideboard wise. Jared, what do you think Frank's probably looking to bring in here?
I mean, the artifact and enchantment hate both really good against Amulet. Consigned to memory is also a consideration. The triggered abilities from the Titans worth countering with a single one mana. You're still getting beat down by a 6/6, but you can take away its ability to give it haste, take away the real benefit of the deck of searching up those extra lands. Um, that's what sticks out to me. I can't remember the exact text of Swan Song. Let me pull that up real quick. That just
Counter
to counter anything, basically.
target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell.
Yeah, that one probably doesn't stick out. Yeah, I would stick him with the enchantment removal and potentially the consigned memories.
Yeah, I'd be curious to
Any,
see if the
anything,
consign actually came in because I think when I was playing against it, I was thinking about consign myself. Um, but then you get the enter the battlefield ability, the ETB, but then it just has the attack trigger too, so that also sucks. But
yeah, it's definitely not a catch-all solution, but it might buy you the turn you need when you can combo them right back on your next turn. There's also something to be said for not diluting your combo too much. So maybe you hold off on that. I'd definitely make room for the artifact and enchantment removal. You can hit the dryads, you can hit the amulets, you can hit the spelunkings. Without those, the deck doesn't really function. So I definitely think you make room for those, and if you have enough that you can trim to make room for consign just to use it almost as a fog for those abilities, then I could see bringing some of those in as well.
right,
What do we got over on Ryan's side?
let's take a look at Ryan. So Ryan's in. I feel like that collector oof, a little bit of endurance potentially should be coming in. Maybe some force of vigor. Uh, yeah, I mean, even just soulless. I mean, I feel like Ryan has a very well laid out sideboard to go against Frank, but as we've seen, Temur Breach just has all the answers and can get through multiple things of hate. So
Yeah, for sure. This sideboard looks great set up against Breach. All the cards you mentioned, the Vexing Bauble to stop all the Mishra's Baubles, the
Moxes, yeah.
Moxes. I couldn't think of the word Mox. That there's so much that you would want to bring in this sideboard. Again, it's just a matter of not diluting your deck too much. I think you take out all the Ryan Walters specials. Sorry, Ryan, for these hate pieces and any other peripheral, maybe cards that help you search up individual pieces. Put in some extra hate in place of those, but keep the core of your deck together. And I think he's sitting in a good spot for game 2 and 3 here.
Yeah, and here we are. Looks like we're looking at some cards and see what we got next. And I apologize to anybody watching. We're gonna work on our camera setup to be a little less wobbly next time. Certain people like to bump that table, so
Yeah,
we'll be working on it.
get you a nice solid gaming table built here for the
Yeah,
cardboard cellar recording studio.
yeah, we might have to just have something on the ceiling and have it framed up there instead.
Great idea. I love it. All right. Looks like we are able to keep sevens on both sides. Frank's starting off with the steam vents, probably a preordain or a Tameo coming down if he's willing to shock for that extra life. Tameo it is.
All right, we're in with some card advantage, dropping the hand early here with a bobble. And looks like we already have the combo in hand. So Ryan better have his P's and Q's ready because Frank's coming in.
Yeah, this one could be over quick after a long and grindy game 1. Mishra's Bobble, 2 cards for Frank. But Ryan not with a slouch of a start either. The Urza Saga into Amulet, this could very quickly turn into a double amulet and combo off on turn 3 game.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a firework to start, and hopefully we get some action.
Yeah. Frank really taking his time with the not going for that fast combo that you mentioned is already in his hand as he flips Tamio over, drawing 3 cards this turn, um, and using up all of his mana. So I think next turn is probably what he's angling for to see if he can go off here.
Yeah, I'd be curious on, because I feel like what grinding station is a turn two.
2 drop.
Maybe he's trying to do it all in one turn here, I guess. But
Does he have the Moxes? I don't see Moxes in his hand.
I see the grape shot, the breach, the grindstone. Actually, I see 2 breaches. Is that
An
two
Unholy
grindstone?
Heat.
2
Yeah,
grindstones.
yeah, I think he's short the Moxes currently.
So we have to do a little digging. Okay. And we're rumbling. Rumble, big boy, rumble. See what we got. We got a Force of Vigor. All right. And an Expedition map and a couple of dual bounces.
Yep.
Let's see what the decision is here.
And I believe he already has a bounce land, right? That's how he was able to cast that Dryad. So, excuse me, he may not even need those bounce lands. He might just be taking that expedition map to go search up like a Teleria West or another one of his utility lands.
Okay, so we have a lot of mana's ability next turn, so potential to go off. Looks like we do
Yeah, and
find.
that Urza Saga will also be sacrificed next turn. So we'd go up to another amulet, which would make each of those land drops produce 4 mana. So Frank's really got to kick it into overdrive here. I think next turn is a guaranteed combo for Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan definitely needs to have that die on there to indicate. I feel like losing track of that could be huge.
For sure. Both for early searches and late searches, you know. It's just it's supposed to be a card with that's a double-edged sword if you can just use it however you want. Definitely need to
Okay,
keep track of that, maintain that game state for both players.
here we go. Looks like we're gonna try to go for something.
So I think he's just a well, Mox Opal isn't even active currently. If he does find it,
And we're digging.
um,
There it is.
there, yep. So now he gets Breach, gets back the um, the other Mox, the legendary Mox, Amber, I think. Um, and then the Opal will be active when he plays the Opal, and he starts grinding away.
Yep, I think we got it here. We're storming. I love that
All right.
drawing, Frank. Very artsy. Alright, so a little hard to see that. Looks like Storm 2.
Yep. But this one should be in the books. Just a matter of going through the paces. Um, Solitaire gameplay here for a moment.
As I mentioned, these decks have some long turns sometimes.
Well, that Mishra's Bauble does not actually tap for mana, right? Or not Mishra's Bauble. That Mox Opal does not actually tap for mana right now. I don't think that's gonna matter, and I think he actually caught himself on it.
Yep, so but we do have Bobble, we do have Mox, a lot of grinding here.
Well, we're just shortcutting, so I he does have it because he can just keep bringing back the Mox Amber instead.
So he's just, yep, showing Ryan currently and yep, going through paces here, so got to keep some time frame going.
Yeah, for sure.
Does a whole lot of things, a whole lot of storming.
and just searching for a grape shot or a fast as oracle. Maybe we could even get a what's the squirrel one? Uh, chatter. I don't know.
Oh,
Make it
Chatterstorm or whatever
squirrel.
it is.
Yeah,
They're
just go
actually,
for the most unique way to storm off.
yeah, the new Tarkir series that's coming out that's dropping has Dragon Storm. So a lot of storm mechanic coming back into that.
All right. Tarkir, one of my favorite planes for sure. I mean, it's where I started, so it's bound to be, but it's just got a lot of fantastic artwork and styling that's not so heavy-handed like some of the newer sets tend to be. When we're bringing in other universes into the Magic universe, it gets pretty heavy-handed, but Tarkir has a nice flavor of its own.
Yep, always really enjoyed Tarkir, and my favorite always has to be Lorwyn. That was my favorite of all time. Will remain that way, but definitely
And
some pretty
another
cool ones.
yeah, another set with great art, great story, and those things kind of stick with you. It gives Magic its own appeal and own nostalgia to it. Um,
Yeah, that was about a time where we'd be playing on the floor with unsleeved cards and thinking that we were really
ha-
good.
and half knowing the rules.
Yeah,
Well, we
like,
still only half know the rules, but
well, if actual, yeah, we still don't know the rules, but we're learning and we're going through it. So, all
yeah.
right, well, let's kind of see what we got here. We didn't really get to see much side, so let's kind of see what, other than maybe Force of Vigor from Ryan's side. I know we saw that come in, and
Yeah, I'd be surprised if too much changes play or draw for these guys. I don't think you want to cut any lands. That's something when you're in the draw, you can cut a land to make room for an extra hate piece or something just because the math works out better when you have that extra card in your hand. But when you're just trying to combo off as quickly as you can, I don't think you want to dilute your deck in that way. Just keep it consistent. Make sure you have your mana sources. Make sure you have all the necessary resources for your combo, and let the hate pieces be the secondary option.
correct, yeah. And it looks like I did see a collector Oof on Ryan's side, but it honestly looked like he might have just tossed that away. Okay, no. For a second there, I was a little nervous that he tossed that, but
Yeah, that's got to be one of his best cards, one of his best hate pieces in the matchup. How's the rest of that hand look?
seeing a lot of
Think
lands, maybe a grazer and a
is that
summoner's
back
pact.
card the Titan or sorry, an amulet? Yeah, he's got the amulet. Yeah, that hand looks great from what I can tell.
Yeah, it looks like he's rearing to go. Just waiting on Frank to get his stuff together here and see if he's taken. But beautiful thing about these combo decks is, mole baby mole.
Yeah, it really does reward discipline, mulliganing decisions. It feels really bad at times when you're just going down to no resources in hand, but sometimes that's what you got to do is just get to the three or four resources you actually need rather than having an abundance of resources that don't do anything. It's
Right.
a classic Tron keep, right? Keep three Tron lands and just play off the top of your deck.
I'd rather we never talk about Tron again, but.
Well, we have a surprise for you next round, Austin.
Surprise! Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got PTSD still from the old days of 2016. Just
Speaking of
getting
magic nostalgia, everybody has a little bit of Tron PTSD, I think.
yeah, yeah. It was definitely one of the powerhouses for a long time, and I'm safe to say I'm glad that it went away. But
The new Tron decks, the Eldrazi decks, they're more creative at least. You see mono blue Tron floating around every once in a while. Back when it was that green red Tron that just did the same thing every single game, that was definitely where some of that PTSD starts to set in.
yeah, not much you can do about a natural Tron into an Ugin and wipe your board.
Yep. Collector Roof facing off against the Tamio here, making those clue tokens just sit around and add to the count for Mox Opal. So
Oh,
not doing nothing, but as the that what was it? Wear down takes care of the amulet. That really could uh, be a spanner in the works for Ryan. Really could slow him down enough that Frank's able to take advantage here.
yeah, I really like that wear down card. Bloomborough had some really sneaky cards, between, like the gifts and everything. It was a really cool set, but Dawn's Truce is really cool. But a lot of really awesome cards that came out of that. I'm glad to see they're being utilized here in this game.
For sure. And another one with great flavor. It reminds me of like the children's nursery rhymes, the like uh, Winnie the Pooh, Peter the Rabbit type of uh, folk folk tales. That's probably a great intro for getting younger players into Magic.
Yeah, I definitely would have loved to have played standard in that, but I'm not keeping up with standard at this point. So, but all
Yeah.
right, we're getting in with the Tamio here. It looks like get some clues.
That collector roof really putting in work as we see a couple of extra cards off to the right that are basically textless at this point.
Yeah, and I think we kind of missed, our other discussion of unbanning. We talked about Mox Opal, but on Ryan's side, we're getting to see the Green Sun Zenith come back to life. So that also seeing play. Haven't seen any, I believe, in this match, but I did see that he had it.
For sure, as a Springheart Nantuko gets bestowed upon this collector roof, who might be getting beat down with an army of artifact hate. Um, but yeah, Green Sun Zenith, definitely a powerful card. Not one I've had the pleasure of playing with yet myself. But those tutor effects are always just powerhouses. They lead to a lot of interesting gameplay. Um, in the long term, they lead to a lot of uh, overly consistent, repeatable gameplay. But whenever you get a nice toolbox built deck built, man, you feel like you can do anything.
Definitely good to see it come back, and I know that the fan favorite of the return is the Splinter Twin. So,
Yeah, for sure. Who doesn't love a good twin?
Ryan going with a
And
force on.
yep, dealing with that opal and the Mishra's Bauble.
All right, gonna be a lot to get through here for Frank. Let's see what we got. Pretty cool.
Making a construct token there. Yeah, I'd be tempted to have gone after the Saga rather than the Bauble, but um,
I don't know if he realized that he could. Um, I'm thinking he probably just mistook it just for being a land.
yeah, fair enough. I mean, he does have Sagas in his own deck, so I'd expect that it'd be something he's aware of, but it's easy enough to overlook these things while you're in the midst of a long, grindy game of Magic, especially when you're playing a combo deck and you're not necessarily ready for the games to be as grindy as these ones have.
It looks like still have those through the breaches. Just gotta get rid of that collector roof here. A little bit of tapping of the table, messing up some of the
They
focus.
are focused, bouncing around here.
And we're back.
Going to be having an extra collector roof made off the Springheart Nantuko copy. I really don't see how Frank can possibly dig himself back out of this unless he just decides to beat down with those Saga tokens. And that Saga is currently a one, two, three, four, and I think there's at least two clues there. It is. It's a pretty decently sized creature if he just starts bashing away with it.
Yeah, I mean, what, 7 currently?
counting 6, but either way. Oh no, because the third clue just got made. Yep, you're right, 7.
So he's gonna block with the token. Okay.
Yep. I mean, if he draws another land, he gets to make another one next turn. If he doesn't draw a land, he's probably drawing something that can really advance his game plan. So,
Okay.
and and Urza Saga actually the perfect combination of both, advancing his game plan and um, pumping out another token that can jump block if needed.
Yeah, Ryan doing really well at remembering his triggers currently, and said being a newer player, he's doing really well.
Getting in for a 3 with that collector roof with the +1/+1 from Bestow. And this whole time, Frank's actually just been stuck on one land too. We haven't mentioned that, but I wonder what all he has trapped. Oh, never mind. Right up to 2 mana as soon as I mention it, and he clearly didn't even need that mana because that came in tapped.
Yeah. Well, we know that he has the 2 breach in hand. He's got 2 underworld breach in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So
They don't do a whole lot at the moment. Most he's bringing back some artifacts to keep growing that token, but that token's by far the biggest thing around for the time being, anyway.
yeah, looks like, are we blocking with? Oh, okay. Tapping a lot of mana.
Titan coming down.
Yeah, we're going in.
Searching up another saga.
Yeah, that card's just extremely consistent. It just gets around so many different things, and Saga's incredible. Yeah.
For sure. It's an interesting one to have to learn to play with. I know it's been out for a while and everybody knows how to do it now, but it was whenever it first got spoiled, one of the ones you saw in those Jund Saga lists, all kinds of different Delirium lists, and then like the Hammer lists. And Hammer will probably be making a resurgence now with Mox Opal unbanned. It seems like it gives it an extra dimension to attack on, just a bit faster than it was before. Um,
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of hammer run around the tournament today, so somebody might run into it. I don't know.
all right.
Now Frank answers with his own Saga.
And I think that microsynth lattice, if that's the correct name, is that copying? Are there now 3 sagas available for Ryan?
I'm going to assume so.
Okay, Underworld Breach. He's going for it. I'm gonna be. He's got preordain pulled to the front. See what he can find with that. He's got to find an answer to 2 collector roofs, one of which is a 3 power, 3 toughness creature. So his unholy heats, he's got to be careful how he manages his graveyard to make sure that he keeps. Oh, just a Underworld Breach for a single preordain that turn.
Yeah, I think he's looking for the unholy heat. Try to get rid of that. Oof. And it looks like so on that Mycosynth Gardens, it has to copy an artifact. So nothing really now. He could copy
Oh, okay.
the
Yeah, my
amulet,
apologies.
but
I thought it could copy an artifact or land. And that die is representing the size of the tokens, maybe? Or is it possible we're in turns at this point?
don't believe we're in turns. We're 49 minutes in, coming up on it. I think we might be going to turns.
Getting busy with the Primeval Titan.
I don't think Ryan realized how big that construct was.
That or he's just after the lands out of his deck. I mean, if he just starts pumping out construct tokens of his own, or goes and gets a bounce land and a Beseju, maybe he can destroy that construct token. There's quite a few different things he could be getting out of his deck to start whittling away at Frank's board. Um, but it does seem like he has the inevitability in this situation. I don't really think he needs to be throwing that Titan away.
Here's where the tough decisions start coming in, and we'll see what he does. So we got the wolf run. It looks like.
In the Drown Yard.
Okay, construct gonna block. Yep. I think I don't know. I think that was kind of a mistake. I think Ryan didn't realize how strong it actually was.
Still not in a bad spot here, though. I mean, Frank's gonna pump out a couple more tokens, but Ryan could be pumping out tokens of his own.
Okay, for three, we're putting another construct, which is even beefier. So a 10-10.
Saga and tapping. It's going to be sacrificed. He could have made a token prior to that. And then they just come back with a one on it?
I think he had the
Or is
two.
that it?
He had the two of them, but I think there might have been a little bit of a potential misplay.
Unless maybe there was another Saga over. No, but it couldn't be on one. It'd have to be at least be on two at this
Yeah,
point.
it would have to be on two because he had both of them last turn. So a little bit of misplay. It looks like
He's making
Ryan
another collector roof copy that's tapped for some reason.
is it attacking?
Maybe that's a shifting woodland,
That's what I
and
was
he just
thinking.
verbalized what it is. Apologies, everyone. It is a bit hard to keep these straight when we can't quite see the graveyards, can't quite hear what the players have going on, um, and especially as we're trying to track through these game states that don't appear to quite have been maintained.
But once again, we'll work through it and teach off of this. And okay, so it's like another construct. Frank's gonna go get something else. Looks like that golden die is symbolizing our turn three, correct?
It's either that or it's the size of the construct tokens. It's been out there for a while, but you could probably see it a little bit better than I can on my screen. Frank going to get the might, the what is the name of that card?
Hayward might.
Haywire might, yeah.
Haywire might.
That might be able to deal with the Springheart Nantuko and allow uh, start chipping away at some of these collector oofs and prevent more of them from coming back. Um, so I mean, Frank is fighting the good fight here. He's picking through the board, but I I still find it hard to believe that Ryan doesn't have all the resources he needs to just run away with this, especially with Urza's sagas that never go away.
Yeah, well, we'll kind of see because I believe that Saga should have. been at 3 and then should have been leaving at this point. So
It's up to a 2 now. Um, so maybe we'll see him make a couple of constructs.
yeah, because Frank's constructs are now 12/12s. We're shifting woodlands.
Maybe a question about if that shifting woodlands just came down this turn, can it be activated as a creature and have haste? Maybe that's the discussion here. I'm not 100% certain. Where did that Springheart Nantuko go?
Up to graveyard.
The Haywire Might is still on the battlefield. Now that I think about it, couldn't have been activated anyway.
Force of Vigor.
Force of Vigor got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Or Nature's Claim. Sorry, Nature's Claim.
Okay. Okay.
Looks like Ryan is creating tokens, but from where for what? Okay, looks like this is turn 5.
Turn 5. There's 2 Collector Roofs still on the battlefield. If Frank has
Okay, Nature Claim a construct. And looks like we got ourselves a draw.
Yeah. Great way to start off round 1. Everybody gets some points. Everybody gets their participation trophy. I drew in round 1 as well. Austin, I don't know if you got through unscathed or not, but
I did. First 4 rounds got unscathed. So, but all right, let's head on to round 2.
What? Yep, we'll have some interesting tiebreakers here later in the tournament, and we'll see you all in round 2.